So in this video, we're going to talk about using vibrato up in the higher positions because a lot of times it's very awkward and it really feels difficult to get that note vibrating with consistency and nothing that's sort of overly wide or overly sort of sizzly, okay? So important to learn how to do this properly. First, let's just talk about the basic vibrato that I've talked about in previous videos. I'll include the link here. Just make sure that vibrato is very much rocking and knocking from the finger, okay? So important to have this finger very much established and sitting very still on the string and then rocking and knocking that hand back and forth, whether using a wrist vibrato or an arm vibrato, okay? Just make sure that finger's on the fingerboard firmly, okay? Then you can just go into a, let's say, just third position, okay? Do the same thing, okay? And again, if you're using a wrist vibrato, you can sort of move the hand away from the base of the violin, okay? Or you can just use the whole arm, okay? But again, keeping that finger firm. So getting up into the higher positions, it becomes that much more critical to have a firmness in this finger onto the fingerboard, okay? It's got to be very still because the vibrato has to be that much more narrow. And I use an arm vibrato because I feel like I can control it better. I know people that use wrist, and neither one is better or worse. It just depends on what style you use most of the time. I use arm in general, so that's why I use arm up high. But what's so important is to be able to do it with a very, very narrow width, okay? And depending on, how fast you want it or how slow you want it, it just has to stay very stable and very consistent. So if you're playing a B natural, you can see it's a very imperceptible motion, okay? It's very, very tiny, but it's very consistent. And I'm using it basically from the bicep with this arm vibrato. I can do a little bit of it with a wrist vibrato, but I don't control it as well. So that's why I very much lean on the arm vibrato. Okay, but again, either one is fine. But most importantly, have the finger snug on the fingerboard. Very, again, snug against maybe another finger just to keep it stable. So, like I say, if you use other fingers to support the hand, that also could help very much. So again, in summary, firm fingers, supporting it with others, narrow, consistent speed and width, all right? Those are the keys to a really consistent vibrato in the higher positions.